believe the recommendation of of the Finance Committee and of the Board of Selectmen. Is there any further discussion? Mr. O'Brien.
Moderator, I think to bring this up at this time, there was quite a procedure. We did not vote the motion to stop discussion. Terminate debate.
We did not vote on the motion to turn. I guess the chair's senior moments are getting more serious, but we'll let it by because I don't think there was too many people who objected to it. Sorry. You've heard the motion under Article 13. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. Mr. Smith, do we have another motion under Article 13?
We've got the fire truck up here right now.
We had a motion and we just voted on it. Yeah, Article 13A is voted on. Is anybody
Mr. Moderator.
confused about what we just voted on? Okay. We supposedly just voted on Article 13, Item A. I read the motion. Okay? So we're not going to do it over. I guess the chair is not the only one with senior moments. Mr. Smith.
Mr. Moderator, I move to appropriate the sum of $36,000 for the purpose of purchasing and equipping one command vehicle for use by the fire department, and that to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, is authorized to borrow said sum.
You've heard the motion. Does the Finance Committee have a recommendation? Mr. Jones Sr.
Mr. Moderator, the Finance Committee recommends. I again will rely on the fire chief to make his explanation. I would only say that you're not talking about a chief car, you're talking about a departmental command car. Please bear that in mind.
Mr. Smith, does the Board of Selectmen have a recommendation?
Board of Selectmen do not recommend.
Do not recommend. Mr.
On a
Smith.
2-2 vote with one abstention.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Mr. O'Brien.
Mr. Moderator, we just discussed at great length a concern early on this evening about spending $400,000. I see a line item here, or under Fire Department B, purchase and equip a command vehicle. I would respectfully request that the fire chief, and I know he anticipated this, convince town meeting that we are in need of a command vehicle. I really don't know what it means. I'm assuming what it is. I would also like to know what the full expense is to equip it with lights, radio, technical equipment, whatever that might be. Is it all in the cost? Do you buy a packaged command vehicle, or do you assemble it to your needs? Do you send out a set of specs? Please tell us something more about it. My bottom line is that I don't think that this department is in need of a command vehicle. I think we have enough dedicated people who can arrive on scene at a very bad situation and make determinations visually as to what they want to do, as opposed to have somebody in a vehicle making decisions based on a flow of input. I guess that's the way it will work. I don't know. But I really do think we have very capable people of making decisions now without having a vehicle to sit in.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Chief O'Brien, would you like to answer Mr. O'Brien's question?
Sure, I would.
Would you please?
Any questions? Just kidding, Nick. No, I'm taking you very serious, Nick. I had to take...
Let's hear what the chief has to say. Mr. O'Brien, you have the floor. Chief O'Brien, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Essentially, what we're talking about is a mid-sized four-wheel drive vehicle, which in fact is a response vehicle. It's not much bigger. Actually, we're talking about the size of a Tahoe or a Explorer size, the Ford or the Chevy class. Both of those are on state bids. They're used extensively in many, many communities around and becoming more and more common. If you were to head to the western part of the country or the southern part of the country, you would see that these are used exclusively. As I said, it's essentially a multi-purpose vehicle. It can tow. It's used for response. This particular vehicle will be assigned to the deputy fire chief. It would be available pretty much 24/7 in the community. The most important thing about this is, as we go through this, you'll see some other visuals that will let you know what these points make. It supplies us a relatively calm and quiet area to make decisions. Mr. O'Brien, I appreciate your comments, because we do have capable people, whether they're captains or deputies or any other chief officers or any people. We have many, many firefighters that are capable of stepping up to the plate. The most important thing about this particular vehicle is it gives us a work area in the back. It's a cubic area in the back of the vehicle that we're looking for. The most important thing is about who is where, when. It's accountability. In today's world, larger buildings, even our community homes, over 1/3 of the houses in this community have over 2,000 square feet of living space. Now, that seems to be a little bit small to some people, especially if you have 4 or 5 kids, but 3,000 and 4,000 square foot homes are large homes. And when you have a fire in that and you have people operating in there, things can go bad quickly, and we need to know what people are. Beyond that, we have many, many large commercial type buildings in this community, multifamily dwellings, buildings that are measured no longer in square feet but in acres. We need to know where these people are, where they're operating these buildings. We have incident command flow sheets, not just for fires. Understand something else, the fire department's not just fires, it's emergency medical services. It's also to do with hazardous materials. Somebody mentioned something like 10 sites on Concord Street. I've probably been at each and every one of those sites when the spill occurred. If you don't keep track of things when they're going along, you get in trouble pretty easily. The resource books we need for those. Again, the floor plans for large buildings. It's nice to know what things are when you need them, quick in a hurry. It also allows the person assigned to that vehicle, which in fact in this particular vehicle will be the deputy fire chief, a place to keep his gear. Warm, dry place. Trunks of vehicles are not really conducive to drying out gear necessarily. It stays wet overnight. It also gets cold. You don't get a chance to ever heat it up. Beyond that, there's fire investigation, code investigation, and other tools that we need to carry. Currently, we carry it in large Rubbermaid boxes. We pull things in and out of our trunks and so forth. It's really not conducive to good working order. Communications equipment that we should have the ability to do. Yes, we do have it now, but this again locates at one spot where we can do a nice, slow, sane approach of command and control, making sure everybody's safe and sound. This is the type of vehicle we're talking about. This is a Ford, happens to be a Ford type. As you can see, swings up and out of the way. We can step underneath it, especially in the area that's behind, up in this area. This is the part we're talking about. Gives us the ability to use laptop computer, access information that way. Hazmat, again, it's essential that we, especially during hazardous materials or other type non-fire emergencies, which we're getting more and more into, this is the place that we need to be able to stand and work. And as I said before, they're not a state of art. This is not a new idea. They're used everywhere. These are the communities locally that are using these vehicles. As you can see, pretty much surrounded by it. Also, when you get into larger vehicles, they have a tendency to last a little bit longer. As I said, the space in smaller vehicles or in cars is just not sufficient. This is the final example I can give you that the back end of the vehicle opens up. This is one of many examples that are commercially available. This section back here is an insert. The radios, the lights, all the other technology will be transferred from the cars that we have currently. One last part I'd like to add to you is Currently, the vehicles that we have is a 1994 Ford recycled police cruiser with 128,000 miles on it, 1991 Crown Vic with well in excess of 100,000 miles on it, and a 1989 Chevy, which has 90+ thousand miles on it. The last vehicle, those in the first two, by the way, were police cruisers that have been recycled. The last vehicle that the town purchased for the fire department was a 1989 Chevy, which was purchased as a chief's vehicle, the chief of department's vehicle back in '89. So, any other questions?
You have a quick follow-up, Mr. O'Brien? Because as you know, under our bylaws, you're only allowed to speak once.
Well, first off, Mr. Moderator, I don't think many of my questions were answered. I asked a price to begin with.
I'm sorry, the line item says 36,000, and the current state bids are somewhere right around 30 to 33,000, depending on which vehicle we were to purchase and how many add-ons we were to get. Those back portions, the slide-in portion, is somewhere around 3,000 to 4,000. It's a trade-off of what we do for vehicle and trade-off of what we do for the rear
What is the
part.
final cost? The final cost?
$36,000, which is in the line item.
That's for the vehicle, all the
That's
equipment?
and to equip, yes, sir.
And all the equipment in it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just some comments in response to the chief's response to me. First off, there was considerable time spent establishing a base at the fire station so that units that were out on service could communicate with the fire station as to what was in buildings, specifically industrial buildings around town. Should there be a problem, how the building was set up. I've seen this on grids myself. It was displayed to me. So I suggest that indeed we have communications now between the apparatus or the chief and the fire department where they have all of this stuff in-house and they can respond to it now. The chief indicates that this would be a vehicle to carry all of this equipment on. I don't think it's necessary. I have specific questions concerning two vehicles that would probably accomplish the same task unless they have a different purpose. Specifically, we have a dual-wheel vehicle called Squad 1. Would somebody tell me what the purpose of that vehicle is? I never see anything in the back of it. I see it about town. I'm assuming it's being used as opposed to a piece of fire apparatus to go around and check licensing, safety of buildings, what have you. We also have a pickup truck that at one time carried in the back of it some apparatus that was used for firefighting. This was installed through the efforts of a previous fire chief, and I see that unit now on a pallet in the back of the fire station, which is to say we have a pickup truck and a Squad 1 vehicle that could probably accomplish most of the task of this particular vehicle. So not as a challenge, but as a question. Why do we need this when we have vehicles that might actually do the job now? And I guess the third question would be, is this the proposed fire chief's new car?
Well, let me take him in reverse, Nick. No, it's not. The tank went in the back of the pickup truck today. We've had a small problem with construction since about November. We finally got the binder down. We were able to get that vehicle, heavy equipment to come in during all the construction. It goes in around springtime. We were delayed about 2.5 to 3 weeks. The tank is in the back of the pickup truck. It's used for off-road to save off-road abuse, if you will, for the squad truck. Eventually, that vehicle is also used by the mechanic exclusively, to get around town, back and forth in town barn, back and forth. He'd been prior using, and he also uses police cruisers, whatever's available. That's one of the many vehicles he uses. And the squad truck is used in lieu of running a fire engine wherever we can in response to all medical aids. The various cabinets in the back carry a number of different tools to do with emergency medical services, air packs and so forth. That was an expensive vehicle. We don't use it for errand running necessarily, but that's what we use the recycled cruisers for. What we're trying to do is eventually phase out the pickup truck, which it's on pretty much its last legs. When it breaks, it's gone. We're not going to put any more money into that. The squad truck, then we'll take that tank off the back of that truck, we'll put it on the back of the squad truck, and then it will be relegated to all that type of nuisance calls where a small amount of water, not an attack truck is needed, just put some water on an outside fire, illegal burning, or an off-road brush fire. That's where we're heading with that vehicle.